Some impressive student teams are at work right now designing the next generation of Army drones. It sounds like a pretty cool story here that Greg Nichols has put together for us. So, Greg, just tell us what they're up to.
Yeah, so there was this contest underway to help design the Army's next drone, the next UAV. And that may not sound totally remarkable, but the people doing the designing certainly are a bit out of the ordinary. We're talking about students, some of them still in high school. So this is the so-called Firepoint C3 Challenge. It's being administered by the Firepoint Innovation Center at Wichita State University. And that is actually a collaboration with the U.S. Army's, and this is a mouthful, Combat Capabilities Development Command Aviation and Missile Center, or not very shortened, but still shortened, CCDCAVMC. And for some context, that's a partnership to accelerate, joint technology development and technology transfer between the university and other government institutions, including the Army, the armed forces. So it's an interesting story about where innovation is happening, and that it's even happening at the high school level. It's also an interesting peek at how the armed forces are leveraging that innovation for systems that may one day be used in war, and that's something I think could potentially raise some eyebrows.
Really, some great stuff here, Greg, that they're doing. So, what is Wichita State? What do they hope to get out, do you think, of this collaboration with the Army?
We covered the launch of this project, the Firepoint project, last September, and a guy named Steve Cyrus, whose role is manager of technology collaborations with Firepoint, laid out the ambitions of the project. First among those, he said, was to help provide a talent pipeline of young engineers to the Army. And so in part, that's by putting them in competition with their peers and kind of seeing who rises to the occasion, rises to the surface. But the not so hidden secondary objective was to help streamline the transfer of actual technology, actual pieces of technology that were being developed from universities and even high school campuses to the military. So the Army, it turns out, is actually embracing these kinds of student competitions, specifically to further its UAV or drone ambitions. Last year, the Army hosted a drone fly-off event at the University of Texas at El Paso as part of a student design competition. And during that event, undergraduate students piloted drone systems designed by college teams, predominantly from historically Black colleges and universities and other minority institutions around the country. So the Firepoint Challenge, which was open to university students around the US, asked teams to submit a design proposal for a specific component within a UAV subsystem. So not the entire drone, but kind of one element of the drone or one piece of technology that would go into the drone technology stack. And that could be in the category of lift, of energy, or of the actual physical structure of the drone. So after initial judging, 6 teams have been chosen in the Firepoint Challenge, including, surprisingly, a high school team.
Greg, again, so impressive that those high schoolers are really in there and at the top of the game here. So, what specifically types of ideas are the teams working on?
Yeah, so the 6 teams have each submitted design concepts in one of those 3 component areas, and they're going to receive up to $10,000 for the actual development of the idea that they're putting forward. The winning teams really demonstrate a surprising diversity of ideas and ingenuity, especially considering they're coming out of teams and labs that are really quite young. So among the participating teams, the Bueller High School Science Club, and that's located in Wichita. I'm sure everyone there is very proud of them. That team has a lift concept that leverages what's called the Cartesian diver principle in order to float a safe hydrogen-filled envelope, really requiring no power at all and providing whisper quiet operation, which could be a really interesting element for a UAV, specifically one used for, I don't know, reconnaissance or surveillance purposes, which is definitely one area that the military would be interested in. There is another team called Team Innovating Shockers from Wichita State University. And that team's concept combines a conventional wing design with a circular airfoil design that helps provide the lift to the UAV. So there are 6 teams. I'll just pick another one here. A team from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Team Volair. That team is demonstrating how a process called compression overmolding with a 3D printed lattice, it's a mouthful, but how that process can be used to rapidly build durable carbon fiber airframes with cutting edge, even bullet resistance for military UAVs. And obviously production considerations are really a massive consideration. when you're talking about these drone systems, many of which have to be designed to be, in a sense, disposable, because they really are operating under some severe conditions. Another team, Pistol Pete's Propulsion Posse from Oklahoma State University. I love saying that one. Their proposed propulsion system, called a turboelectric power system, combines battery power with electrical power generated by a gas turbine coupled to an electric generator. So really, there's just kind of a real diversity of designs, of ideas, of development that's going into this project. Yeah, so it's been really exciting to see and to track these young engineers as they're submitting for the design, for their competition.
Well, certainly if there are points to be given for creative names, we know who should get them. Okay, so what are the next steps here for the teams?
Yeah, so we're close to wrapping up. So after additional judging in March, up to 4 teams will be selected to move forward and begin collaborating remotely on their designs and integration. They're actually going to be working on these components, which is pretty cool. They'll use Dassault Systems 3D design platform, which is kind of an industry standard engineering design platform to bring those 3D concepts to life. And ultimately, the teams are going to collaboratively design and fabricate really like integrated working UAV prototypes, which is very cool. And that should happen by February of next year, 2021.
All right, Greg, a really interesting article here. If you want to learn more about the contest, you can check out Greg's full article on ZDNet.